I'm Michelle Barone.
And I'm Mark Malone.
And it's time to wake up with Rhinebeck Bank.
We're so excited to be out here in the beautiful weather today,
gorgeous.
offset in Newburgh, New York.
Something totally different. You know why? Rhinebeck Bank cares about the community. And that's why we're out in the community.
We're actually at Independent Living Incorporated today.
Yes.
And we're really excited to be meeting their executive director, Doug Hovey. Doug's been with the organization, actually founded the organization back in 1987.
Unbelievable. How many years has he been there?
It's 29 years.
29 years. He is an incredible individual.
Doug is so passionate about the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that passion and also about the organization.
Absolutely. You know what? Let's go take a look inside. Come on.
Let's go check it out.
Hello, Doug. Hovey, pleasure to meet you and
Michelle.
see you. Yes, thank you
you
so much for having us here.
Yep, thanks so much, Doug.
Yes.
Mark,
Love
thank
the
you.
office.
Great. Thank
Yes, it is a beautiful facility and we're so happy to be here. You know, I would love to let everyone know a little bit about what you do here at Independent Living and tell us about your role as well.
you. Sure. Thank you for having me, by the way. It's
Absolutely.
really exciting to be here. Independent Living is a disability services organization. We're based here in Newburgh, and we have offices in Middletown and Monticello as well. And I'm fortunate to serve as the Chief Executive Officer. Actually, we started Independent Living in 1987.
Wow, long time ago.
That's unbelievable.
As a small resource center, and we are consumer run, and what that means is that our board of trustees is made up of 51% people with disabilities. So these are individuals who truly understand the needs of people with disabilities. We provide a variety of different services, and I'm sure you're familiar with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes.
Well, back in 1987, that didn't exist.
Really?
So a lot of things were not as accessible as they are today. We had a lot of work to do to educate the community and reduce the number of physical barriers and attitudinal barriers. So a lot of our work is invested in education and training.
I can see that, definitely.
Yeah, and we really focus on helping people in three main areas of life. When you think about what's important to us, housing is one.
It's definitely a necessity for sure.
Absolutely.
Huge necessity, right? Accessible and affordable housing is so important.
Absolutely.
Which is why we created the Independent Square Project. Which
Beautiful building.
74-unit apartment complex, and 20 of the units were set aside for people with disabilities.
That is fantastic. Actually, we're going to take a peek over there.
Great.
Can you
later
talk
on.
about the application process there? Because I think that's really interesting to note how high in demand that type of housing is.
Sure. When we opened Independent Square, we had 827 applications for 74 apartments, just to give you an idea. And so we have a long waiting list. There's a real demand for safe, affordable, attractive housing that's accessible as well. So housing is a critically important service and part of our lives, whether you're disabled or not. The other area is employment. People with disabilities, regardless of the extent of their disability, want to go to work, and they want to feel productive, and they want to contribute to society. So we place a lot of emphasis on supporting people to get jobs.
That is fantastic.
And that's very important, you know. We all know what it feels like when we're out of work.
Absolutely.
So employment is so critically important. And the third part is social connectedness. We have to have social relationships. We have to have
Definitely.
friendships, family. These are very important for us to sustain. So housing, employment, and social relationships are of critical importance.
That's fantastic. And how many people are actually employed here?
We have 88 employees who work in our Newburgh, Middletown, and Monticello location. But we have a home care division that employs over 400 people that get up every day and go to the homes of elderly and disabled people and provide care in their homes. And that's an important service that allows people to continue to live in the community. All of our work is done in the community. So we're moving away from a society that used to warehouse people with disabilities to a society that supports the inclusion, the full inclusion of people with disabilities.
It's amazing how the organization has grown. You said you started in '87. How many employees in '87?
We started in 1987 with 3 employees, and today we're a much larger organization.
That's
and there's a great demand for our services.
Definitely. And what types of disabilities do you service? Do you help?
We serve people with any type of disability and any age, from birth to end of life. So we work with children. In fact, we have an early childhood direction program that focuses on individuals with disabilities who are birth to 5 years old.
Wow.
So we support their families and helping them to get the supports that they need so that when that child is 5 years old, they're ready to go into the public school system.
That's fantastic.
And then we work with people who are at the end of life, and the whole range in between, actually.
Well, so I have to talk about a hot topic now. You know, you hear a lot about it out in the community. It's the $15 minimum wage. You know, as a not-for-profit, obviously a lot of your expenditures are based on a budget, reimbursements, things like that. Right. What are your thoughts on a $15 minimum wage?
Well, it's a sort of a double-edged sword. I mean, we support increasing the minimum wage, but there's got to be the appropriate reimbursement, particularly in home care services, for example, which is funded primarily by Medicaid. For a lot of people with disabilities, Medicaid is their primary insurance. So if we increase the minimum wage to $15, keep in mind that the hourly reimbursement may only be $16 or $17 an hour in total. So not only do we have to pay that wage, but we have to pay for the administrative overhead to support the project. So we've got to be very careful about that. And I know a lot of small businesses, and we consider ourselves a small business, are very concerned about increasing the minimum wage if the funding is not there to support it.
At the end of the day, the money has to come from somewhere, right?
That's right.
And you know, we want to make sure that the programs that are here that you have are able to continue to succeed into the future. So I think that's an important topic.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us a little bit more about Independence Square and how it came out, how it was funded, and give us some background there.
Well, I mean, we knew there was a need. We did a survey, a gaps analysis in the Orange County area, and identified a significant need for affordable and accessible housing. And so based on that analysis, we were fortunate enough to buy the property just adjacent to our office building here in Newburgh, and we had a vision for building apartments. Now, we didn't know how many units we could get there, but we worked with a fabulous developer by the name of Jonah Mandelbaum, and I'll never forget the day that we walked on the property. He said he could get us about 75 to 80 units, and we were very excited.
It's a beautiful facility.
It really is. It's unbelievable. We'll take a walk over and check it out in a little bit.
Great.
So are there any other things that you'd like the public to know about independent living?
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's 25 years old. We celebrated the 25th anniversary last year. So it was 1990 that legislation was passed. A lot of things have improved significantly as a result of the ADA. So we're very grateful to have that legislation in place. We've seen, ramps and doorways widened, and restaurants and theaters and places of public accommodation are far more accessible today than they were 25 years ago. So
even since 1990 till now, it's amazing how far we've come when you're out there in the community. Even older buildings are being retrofitted. It's great.
And I think, attitudes have changed too.
For sure.
Exactly. It's more acceptable as it should be.
Right. Right. So people with disabilities are far more accepted today in society than they were 25 years ago. We still have a lot of work to do, but nonetheless, we're well on our way to full inclusion of people with disabilities, and that's the goal ultimately.
That's absolutely the goal. When we were off camera, you mentioned something about your story and how you felt a little bit apprehensive, when you had your tragedy happen to you. Would you mind sharing that experience and how you felt, and then how you ended up seeing a CEO who was disabled, who gave you the courage to be who you are today? Right.
In 1980, I was in a tragic motorcycle accident, which is why I use a wheelchair today. I have a spinal cord injury, but I was in the hospital for 90 days and surrounded by by wonderful clinicians at the Westchester Medical Center. And it wasn't until I started to interact with other people with disabilities that I really understood that I could turn my disability into an asset and to get on with my life. I didn't have to burn the bridge to a quality of life. I could really get on and get a job. I went to college and
That's
graduated.
incredible.
It really is.
And you know, people with disabilities can be very successful and they can get on with their lives. It's not the end of our world.
Absolutely. Executive director. So, and look at you. You've done an amazing job. So
And this is an amazing organization.
it
We
is.
appreciate the opportunity to learn more about it.
Absolutely. And thank you for
Great to be
taking
here.
the time out to talk with us. We
Thank you.
appreciate it very, very
Appreciate it.
much.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Doug.
much, Doug. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Very
Thank you.
much.
Wow, what a remarkable facility.
Beautiful.
And Doug was a great guest. I really
Yes.
enjoyed learning more about him and Independent Living, Inc.
Absolutely. You can check it out at myindependentliving.org. And next week, check us out on wakeuprhinebeck.com. We hope to see you. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next Monday.
Bye.